Pakistan-based terror continues to bleed India. 4 soldiers, including an officer, have been martyred in Jammu and Kashmir's Doda. They made the supreme sacrifice in the line of duty during a counter-terror operation in Doda. The hunt for terrorists is underway in the forests. Kashmir Tigers, a shadow group of the band JEM, has claimed responsibility for the terror attack. A political war of words has now broken out, with the opposition seeking accountability from the government over the recent surge in terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. As many as 48 soldiers have been killed in action in the last 32 days in the region. In fact, 32 months, I beg your pardon, in the region. And Congress MP Rahul Gandhi, who is also the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, while expressing concern on rising terror attacks, said that our soldiers and their families are bearing the brunt of BJP's wrong policies. Other Congress leaders and India bloc allies have asserted that BJP's promises of ending terror in Jammu and Kashmir have proven hollow.
अभी 3 सालों में 48 से ज्यादा हमारे फौजी जवान शहीद हुए और कहीं जख्मी हुए और कहीं 38 से ज्यादा आतंकी वारदातें हुई। तो इसका जो सिक्योरिटी लैप्स है, इसकी जिम्मेवारी तो सरकार को लेनी चाहिए।
Why such a situation should continue, and who should be held answerable if not the union government headed by Ms. Modi? What happened to their Kashmir policy? Why the peace and normalcy could not be restored there?
As opposition blames the BJP government at the centre and its Kashmir policies for the terror attacks, the Jammu and Kashmir DGP has slammed the role of regional parties in the valley for Pakistan's successful infiltration into the Kashmiri civil society. He's even alleged that so-called mainstream political parties cultivated leaders of terror networks and visited homes of killed terrorists to express sympathy with them. These comments of the DGP didn't go down well with PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti, who's lashed out at DGP R.R. Swain and demanded his sacking. Both the PDP chief and the Congress party have branded the DGP as a quote-unquote fixer.
Pakistan successfully came to infiltrate all important aspects of our civil society. Thanks to the regional so-called mainstream politics in the valley, there is overwhelming evidence to show that many had honed the art of running with the hare and hunting with the hound to a near science that left both the common men and the security men bewildered, frightened and confused. Visiting homes of killed terrorists and expressing sympathy in public became the new normal. While elimination of new recruits to terrorism was allowed and tacitly encouraged, those who facilitated the recruitment, arranged finances, were never investigated.
अब ये अपनी नाकामी को छुपाना चाहते हैं. They want to hide behind mainstream and regional parties. अपनी नाकामी को छुपाना चाहते हैं. He should be sacked. What is the DG doing? Infiltration का काम रोकना मेरा काम है? उमर अब्दुल्ला का काम है? या इनका काम है? बॉर्डर्स पे कौन है? अंदर किसको डील करना है? किसने पुलिस फोर्स को मिलिटराइज किया है? Who has criminalized the thought process of Kashmiris?
Times Now's group editor-in-chief spoke to the Jammu and Kashmir DGP, who said that his remarks were analytical in nature and were not directed against any particular party. Listen in.
But sir, the questions are being raised because there is an anticipation that elections will be held sooner than later, and also your comments, your recent comments have caused a stir because of the infiltration that you have pointed towards into civil society, thanks to, I'm quoting, mainstream or regional politics in the valley. Are there any incidents which can be brought to public scrutiny?
Said in a completely different context to the discussion which you are right now having. I was in an academic institution. We were discussing how important it is to frame strategies, be it for large organizations which is into management or nation states trying to design their security strategies. So when you are making a diagnosis of any designing a strategy, you need to have analyzed as to where actually you would require intervention where you would really find out as to what exactly needs to be done. If you are treading at the same path and expecting to reach at a different destination, it is certainly not going to happen. So therefore, I do not think that it is aimed at any particular individual or for that matter, any particular political party. What I was doing was, or what I was intending was to make a diagnosis.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Dr. Ranganathan continues with us from debate number 1. We have Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow of ORF, joining us on the broadcast. Also with us, Advocate Niloufar Masood, who's leader of the National Conference. With us also is Sanjay Jha, author. We have Mohammad Iqbal Trambu, who's additional spokesperson of the PDP, joining us. Mr. Trambu, let me begin by asking you. There's a clarification coming in from the DGP, Mr. Swain. He says that I wasn't targeting any particular political party. It was just a general diagnosis of what's been happening in Jammu and Kashmir that I was talking about. So would you like to withdraw on your party's part the objections that you had raised earlier to the comments of the DGP?
If he has clarified his plan on this thing, it is more than welcome. But the point is that I will talk about my party. You see, we are a mainstream party, and we are always advocating peace and dialogue. And we have never favored violence, or we have never been in favor of violence in Jammu and Kashmir. It's a mainstream political party, and our aim always has been, right from the beginning, that a peace and a reconciliatory method should be adopted to resolve an issue which is still there. So, if he has withdrawn if he didn't mean what was quoted earlier, it's a welcome thing that he has done it.
No, but Mr. Trambu, let me draw your attention to some of the facts. You know, in the past, Mehbooba Mufti has said, for instance, if Article 35A is tinkered with, there will be no one in Kashmir to hold the tricolour. You know, comments that have been made in the past, or even Mr. Wahidur Rahman Para, who was arrested by the NIA, and the NIA said that it was for his support to HM. He was rearrested for having links with separatists and militants. So, in the past as well, these allegations have been, your party has been repeatedly accused of playing footsie with this, either the soft separatists or the terrorist groups, and that's been pretty much on record and part of several investigations as well. How do you respond to that, Mr. Trambu?
Actually, you have to understand this. When Ms. Mehbooba Mufti said, if Article 370 is tinkered with, there will be nobody in Jammu and Kashmir to hold the tricolour. See, you have to understand the meaning of all this is that tinkering with Article 370 is in one way, betraying the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And when there is betrayal, the reaction of betrayal is that you are in despair, in hopelessness. That is what she meant by saying that everybody has taken it in a different sphere, that literally people will not hold the tricolour. It's not that.
Okay.
It's that hopelessness would come onto them.
And what about Mr. Wahidur Rahman Para's links with the Hizbul and other terror groups? Is that also a misinterpretation?
Pardon? I didn't get your point.
Mr. Wahidur Rahman Para, your party's youth leader, who was arrested by the NIA and rearrested later, he's accused of close links with various terror groups, sir, by the NIA. Can that charge be taken lightly?
The point is that he has been accused. There are many people who have been accused who are in jail, but then the verdict hasn't come. The cases have not been proven. So there's a lot of things going on with the youth of Jammu and Kashmir who are languishing in jail on one charge or the other charge, but the investigations are going on. Once the investigations are over, we will have a clear point of view and a clear...
Okay, Sushant Sareen, please come in. On 35A, we are misinterpreting it. It was the despair that was, reflected by Mehbooba Mufti. In the case of Mr. Para, it is just an accusation. The courts have not yet proved it. So all the premises of Mr. Swain are wrongly founded. Please respond to the PDP additional spokesperson.
I think it was a refreshing change from over 40 years, almost 40 years.
I think you're on mute, Sushant.
Who's muting me? Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it's a very refreshing change that somebody like the DGP has come out and spoken some home truths. And frankly, I can't understand what, gentlemen like Mr. Trambu, if I've got his name correct, are cribbing about. Is he denying that in Jammu and Kashmir there has been an ecosystem in which you've had bar council, which is supposed to be civil society, you've had bar council presidents being part of the separatist networks, you've had professors, doctors, lawyers, civil servants, teachers, you name the person, businessmen who have been involved in money laundering, all kinds of nefarious activity, and all happening under the protection of the state governments or politicians who would often say that for variety of reasons would try and protect these people. Now, if the DGP is pointing it out, it's about time that somebody in the government starts pointing this out and calling a spade a spade. And I can't understand that if as Mr. Trambu very bravely claims that they have always been for peace and reconciliation, they have been in government twice. Why could they not do peace and reconciliation at that point of time? What was the peace and reconciliation they were doing? They were raising Jamaat-e-Islami, which is the mothership of terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. They were pandering to Jamaat-e-Islami. And if that is peace and reconciliation, or surrendering before the terrorists is peace and reconciliation, which is what Dr. Farooq Abdullah says that we need to talk to the Pakistanis, otherwise this will become Gaza. Does he know what Gaza is? Does he want to stay in Gaza? And who will make it Gaza? Pakistan will come and make it Gaza.
Let's be mindful of our language, please. No, language. No. Let's be mindful of language.
I just said that he needs to really think about it. Does he want to live in Gaza?
Okay.
Does he think Pakistan will make it Gaza?
Well, let me apologize to our viewers. We don't endorse use of any cuss words, but let me bring in the NC spokesperson on that, Advocate Niloufar Masood. Niloufar Masood, there are some irresponsible statements and there are other irresponsible statements. Farooq Abdullah has not just made this comment on Gaza. He has come out to say that there will be no military solution, only talks can resolve it. The question is that, when he goes on to say, for instance, that people of Kashmir don't feel Indian, would prefer to be ruled by China, and that they hope that with their support, Article 370 will be restored. These are highly irresponsible statements for someone who's been the chief minister, someone who's been union minister at the center, to be making.
Well, Madhav, I'd like to say that the statement which has been made by the DGP, you need to discuss that statement itself, because that too is an irresponsible statement. In fact, in the earlier one of the debates, I said it is a frivolous statement which has been made because it undermines the sacrifice of the people who have given their lives for this country, including the workers of the Jammu Kashmir National Conference. More than 3,000 people have given their lives. It undermines their sacrifice. What Mr. DGP has tried to do today is that he has tried to kill, in fact, not 2 birds with 1 stone, but 3 birds with 1 stone. Number one, he is trying to shift the burden from his shoulders onto the mainstream people by tagging those people as anti-national. Number one. Number two, saying therein that every person who is in the mainstream or who is holding the idea of the India in Jammu and Kashmir, they are responsible for cultivating the terror leaders here. They need to be very clarified. If any person is involved, if any person from any party is involved in anti-national
Niloufar Masood, when somebody like a former Chief Minister Omar Abdullah says that Burhan Wani is a youth icon, isn't that an irresponsible statement? Wouldn't the DGP be referring to such facts, madam, and such positions that have been taken by leaders of the PDP of the NC?
Who is ruling? It is the center. And today you are tagging Mehbooba Mufti ji or Wahid Para as anti-national people. But BJP is the same party who just stood with PDP and made government in Jammu and Kashmir. And after 2018, when this article was abrogated, we were given to understand in the year 2019 on 5th August that everything will be fine here. We didn't find any peace. Let me
bring in Dr. Ranganathan on that. Dr. Ranganathan, 2 points that have been made by the NC spokesperson. One is that the same PDP and the BJP tied up. The BJP is, of course, ruling at the center. And also the BJP through the LG has been pretty much ruling for the last 6 years. So it's rich to blame the opposition when actually the centers had the reins of power in its own hands for the last 6 years. That's the question coming in from the NC, if I've got them right.
Madhav, a couple of points I need to make, and they're very important. This is a very important discussion, and therefore these points. Number one, I commend and congratulate the DGP for telling the truth And I fear that yet again, no one in the top echelons of the government would support him, come out in his support. So he will be, poor fellow, left holding the can for speaking the truth. And this is a tragedy, especially in a sensitive state like Kashmir. Let me give you 3 examples. What has he said that is a lie? Is it a lie that in 2017, at the behest of local support, guns were found inside mosques in Kupwara? Is it a lie that in December, 5 years ago, in Jamia Masjid, ISI flags were unfurled? Is it a lie that were Pakistanis shouting from rooftops in Srinagar, Ralif, Salif, Galif, when the Kashmiri Hindus, genocide happened against them? Without local support, terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir is impossible. What is he saying that is untrue? And as far as the politicians fomenting is concerned, are we reinventing the wheel out here? Do we not understand the support that someone like a rank Islamist Tooth Gilani got from everyone across the party spectrum? Are we forgetting the explosive? Ma'am, I did not interrupt you. Are we forgetting the explosive statements?
Okay, Nilofarji, let him complete. Let him complete. The other panelists have not even spoken yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saying that rivers of blood would flow if Article 370 is abrogated. I will not unfurl the flag. Not to mention that, as you said, Mr. Para is now implicated in anti-national activities and he was spying for Pakistan. So many other cases. Are we forgetting the fact that it was Farooq Abdullah who said Allah would want that we gain independence from India if Article 370 is abrogated? And are we forgetting the cushioning, the attendance of thousands of people, locals in Burhan Wani's funeral, people condoling the death of Wani the terrorist? What are we talking about here? Are we talking sense? Or are we, but as I say, I have no faith in half the panelists out here because they're propagandists. I fear that the government would not have the bravery to come out and support the DGP. That is what I fear.
All right. Sanjay Jha, you must respond to that because at the end of the day, the kind of controversial positions that have been taken, end of the day, still there are those who are pushing for talks. No talks and terror can go hand in hand is the stated position of the government of India. And yet, you have those who continue to push for it. There are those who are questioning what their intention is, why they go so soft on terror in the past, and also when they've been in power, especially as far as stone pelters is concerned. All of these have been questions that the BJP has been asking. Sanjay Jha.
Madhav, this is a very serious debate. It concerns the death of our soldiers and in many cases even ordinary civilians in the past. And I would expect you to give me 1 minute to respond to some of the comments that I've heard. The national security, territorial sovereignty, maintaining peace and order is the responsibility of the government in power. They are the ones whom the army and the bureaucracy reports to. It's absolutely shameless, hypocritical and fraudulent on the part of some right-wing propagandists on your show to come and make it appear as if the 48 soldiers who have died in the last 32 months or the number of terror attacks that have happened in the last 38 days has got to do with the opposition. I mean, this is the most bizarre, preposterous and absurd thinking of this entire brigade. You see, the problem, I'll tell you, Madhav, is this, that Mr. Modi, the BJP and all of them, since 2014 have conducted themselves with this macho, muscular, hyper-nationalism that we are the only ones who can keep Indians and the Indian territories safe. And they have proved to be a colossal disaster. They have been epic failures. And I would like in a debate of this kind, can we be a little dispassionate here? There is a problem, despite the fact that the central government is the one which is in charge of Jammu and Kashmir. There is terror attacks have escalated. Now, instead of trying to blame the opposition, which I think people will now laugh, because for how long can you blame Nehru and Gandhi and the Congress of 1885 and Rahul Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi? Cut out the absolute nonsense. I expect the right wing here to apologize and accept that they are failing in the promise that they had made to the people of Jammu and Kashmir and to the people of India, that they will be able to keep them safe.
Well, Sanjay, I will just, while I completely agree with you on the point of our fallen soldiers, abusing a fellow panelist is not going to help. And I've told you this in the past, and I've told other panelists also. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to dub any one individual attribute adjectives in particular to another co-panelist, because they will do pretty much the same. And when they pay you in kind, then you will also lose your cool. But Dr. Ranganathan, the point being made over here is this: that yes, we have lost our braves, and a good number of them, over 40 of them, in close to 3 years. The point is that the government will have to take responsibility, and the opposition is only doing its job in pointing that out, is the sum and substance of what Sanjay Jha is saying. Do you agree with him?
Madhav, with due respect, the topic of the discussion was something entirely different. Nobody is commending or saying that the war has been won in Kashmir and, showering rose petals on the government. Far from it. The nub of the debate was whether what the DGP said is right or wrong. I stuck to that. And I said, yes, what he's saying is absolutely right. I gave you 7 proofs. That was the debate. The debate was not that it is the responsibility of of course it is the responsibility of the government. Of course it is. But there are some people who go by data. There are some stooges who don't go by data. The fact of the matter is, ever since Article 370 was abrogated, there has been an 87% reduction in stone pelting. There has been 80% reduction in terror incidents. There has been 48% reduction in youth joining the terror camps. That is the fact. You can go and criticize Modi till the cows come home. The fact of the matter is, yes, while it is the state's responsibility to uphold the law and order and root out terrorism in Kashmir, what the DGP said was the crux of the debate here.
While certainly the incidents and the spurt in terror activity is certainly something that is a matter of concern, I'm just going to leave you with some statistics that our research team has given to me. From 2004 to 2014, the number of terror incidents was 7,217. From 2014 to now, the number is at 2,197. While certainly, of course, the government has to be more alert or take appropriate steps, and there have been meetings that have been held at the highest levels, these figures are also something that we need to keep in mind. I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us. Sanjay Jha, Advocate Neelufar Masood, Dr. Ranganathan, Sushant Sareen, and Mohammad Iqbal Trambu. Thanks so much for joining us this evening.